All right. Thanks everyone for attending today's webinar. Hoping everyone is remaining safe and taking heed to the guidelines provided by the CDC to make sure that we get a handle on this COVID-19. My name is Emmanuel Andrews, and I'm the outreach coordinator at the Commuter Krewe of Louisiana. And we also have Doug Moore on, who is the president at Bike Baton Rouge. And we're here today to talk a little bit about maintaining safety while biking. So this is the bike safety. If you can use this as a refresher, you can share this with your family and friends, especially if they are finding that joy with getting back on a bike now that the conditions are optimal and the streets are a lot clearer than we're used to, and we have that time. Um, I know I've definitely appreciated it and have gotten a lot of miles in and just going out and explored a little bit. But we definitely want to share some tips to make sure that everyone is being safe because it can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes we have questions about the law. Sometimes we have questions about should my bike be doing this, or what does this sound, or what does this mean, or can we ride like that? Whatever that is, we're going to try to address those. And if you have any questions, definitely we'll have some time for you to submit those at the end. But hopefully, we'll be able to touch on everything. All right, so let's go ahead and just get started. So, cities, like I said, the cities are sparse and the roads are clear and trails are filling up, which is a good thing as a person that rides a bike. I like to see as many folks out on trails and using them as they can, whether you're walking, biking, rollerblading, what have you. Getting that exercise is definitely something that we can benefit from right now, and that's one of the positives with the COVID-19 shelter at home. But it's also presented some opportunities for us to educate folks to make sure that they stay safe. Some folks are getting out there and riding their bikes more because now they don't feel confident with ride sharing, so they're wanting to bike to work, or they usually take the bus so that the bike is obviously faster than walking. So the need is there, and we hope that we can address some of those things today. So, as reported in Baton Rouge, if you've been paying attention, gotcha is up 213%. Um, Also, there was a segment on, I think it was WBRZ, and the bike shop right on government there. Uh, Backlog. They just talk a little bit about how they just can't keep bikes in, or they can't get the bikes turned around fast enough because other folks are bringing their bikes in. That's really good news if you're a bike mechanic or you're a bike shop owner, because a lot of times it's almost like a cafe. I mean, it's pretty sparse with the crowds and everything, but it's really good to hear that bikes are not on shelves at Walmart, or it's tough to get bikes in shops fast enough, or it's it's tough to get a bike assembled fast enough if someone orders one and gets it in and they want to ride it because they're so backlogged. That is really good news. Uh, just be patient with the bike shops because I mean they want to make sure that the maintenance is done correctly and that you're safe on the roads. But all of this is really good evidence that it's time for us to really examine again and get folks up to date on what it means to be safe on the road and how you can better enjoy your ride. So that's what the theme of this is: safety first. Also, here, this is one of the greenways that's downtown. We're going to have Doug talk a little bit about that later on. But this has been a long time coming, and it is very beautiful addition to the capital area. So, ABC Quick Check. It's something that you must do. We advise all riders before you get on a bike. Yes, it's you. Even if you rode 2 days ago, do the same thing because you just don't know what may have happened on your last ride that may adversely affect the way your bike performs today. So make sure that your tires are inflated. If you have a gauge or not, you can always get a nice cheap gauge from a bike shop. Any of the area bike shops will carry them, but make sure that your tires are inflated to the correct tire pressure. You can check that, of course, on the sidewall of the tires. Check any damage on it. You may have gone through a little bit of glass. There may be a pinch. You may have experienced a pinch flat with the tubing. Whatever that is, just take a quick scan. Take your hand around it. There may be something embedded in your tire that may leave you stranded on the trails, and you don't want that. And check out the pads, the brake pads. Make sure that there's nothing caught in there. Make sure that there's no oil or anything like that. Make sure to wipe those things off. And any grit from the road can get in there and adversely affect how they uh, stop you when you're riding. Make sure that the pads are adjusted. I can't tell you how many times I've been riding on trails and seen folks where the pad is either below the rim or above the rim, so that the pad is on the tire instead of on the rim itself. That, especially if it's raining or anything like that, can definitely impact you and put you at risk of an accident there. Look to see if you can fit your thumb between the brake lever and the handlebar when the brakes are squeezed all the way. That'll help you to let you know if the brakes need some adjustment or not. You definitely want it to react the way it's supposed to, especially on the road. Pull your cranks away from the bike. All right, now we're moving down. Pull the cranks away from the bike. If they're loose, make sure that they have something to tighten it up or take it to the shop. I can't tell you how many times I've messed up my bike because I did not listen to my bike mechanic and I tried something on my own, and now I can't ride my bike for 2, 3 days because I've messed it up. I'm not a mechanic. I trust my mechanic. If you're like me, take it to the shop and let them take a look at it. You want to be as safe as possible. Check that your chain is free of dust and gunk. You may have gone through mud, especially if you ride trails and then you go off the trail and it's not paved. You can get anything caught in there. It can definitely adverse the way that your bike performs. Make sure that your quick releases are all closed. You don't want any accidents where your wheel just comes off your bike. All right. They should all be pointing to the back of the bike so that they don't get caught on anything. All right. Take a quick ride. Listen for anything. Feel, if the bike is wobbly or how stable it is. Make sure that everything is going properly and then check it again. All right. Helmet fit. Now, how many times have we been out there and you pass by a family, or maybe it's a person riding along, maybe it's a couple, and someone will have their helmet on to where you can see their entire forehead. All right. Now imagine if, and I've had quite a few accidents on my bike, that you fall forward and, God forbid, your head is exposed like that. You're gonna be in pretty bad shape. So you definitely want to find the right size helmet for your head. There's a lot of times where you have kids with helmets that are too large. You have adults with helmets that are too small. The front of the helmet should be level and 2 fingers width above your eyebrows. All right. There's the depiction down at the bottom there. That gentleman is doing exactly that. You should put the helmet on, shake your head from side to side. There should only be a little bit of movement when you do that. All right. The side straps, all right, should come to a point just below the ears. They should make a Y around your ears. Move the small tabs on the side of these straps up and down until they're about half an inch or less under your earlobe. The chin strap should be about half an inch below your chin when your mouth is closed. And because you wearing a bike helmet with loose straps is pretty much like not wearing one at all. I mean, it really can be a nuisance to your ride and make it really uncomfortable. So all of that, I mean, the bike, you should feel as one with the helmet. I know I've been wearing a helmet since I got my bike. Don't go out without one, and sometimes I forget that I have it on. If it's moving around, you're gonna notice it. All right, it's gonna be an uncomfortable ride. You're not gonna be able to enjoy it. You're not gonna stop thinking about it. So make sure that you have a properly fitting helmet. Now we're gonna get to the part where it took me a couple years to get comfortable with this, mainly because I wanted to protect my bike, but I wasn't thinking so much about how to protect myself and to make sure that my that I'm able to commute and be safe in the rain or cold weather or whatever that is. So there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing and bad preparation, as another friend of mine told me. So what to wear? You don't have to wear anything special. All right. Doesn't have to be anything special in order to ride your bike every day. You don't have to have the best um, gear that pops up in your um, in your inbox. If you subscribe to any of the bike websites, they'll send you all kind of things that try to entice you. Yes, it's very enticing, and sometimes I succumb to it. But you don't have to have the best. If your bike doesn't have a chain guard, you can keep your pants away from the chain by rolling up your pant leg or using a leg band. Tight, close fit keeps fabrics from rubbing your skin and causing irritation during the ride. Bike shorts should be worn alone or under a pair of lightweight shorts. If you're going to be in cold, wear some layers. All right, nothing too big. I can't tell you how many times I've been on bike rides with the bike club, and I've gotten to 10 minutes into the ride and I'm taking off my jacket because I went out there with a fleece on thinking it was the proper thing for me to wear. You should be a little chilly before you start because you're going to warm up. All right. Don't try to be warm before the bike ride begins. Gloves and ear warmers can be helpful, but they can also get pretty hot. All right. And also, you want to make sure that you have some reflective colors when you're riding at night. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some things that help us to better understand where we can ride, why, and if you're a motorist, if you're a person that is uncomfortable with riding on the streets with cyclists and everything, um, there's some things that we must know because the thing is, most folks who ride bikes are also drivers, but not all drivers are people who ride bikes. So it's something that everyone needs to know because at some point you will come across a person that is riding a bike and you want to be safe and you want to be safe as well. So this is the part where we're going to introduce and bring in our president of the Bike Baton Rouge. Doug, you want to take over?
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, Bike Baton Rouge is a local nonprofit. We are devoted to making biking safer and more enjoyable for everyone in Baton Rouge, regardless of age, ability, or socioeconomic status. If you want to check us out and things we've got going on, we're on all social media and our website, bikebr.org. So that being said, with a lot of new cyclists on the road, as Emmanuel was saying, a lot of people just may not be aware of how to ride legally. And that goes if you're on the bike itself, or if you're aware of the laws that pertain to people riding and their rights and responsibilities. So we just want to talk a little bit about it here. Um, there's not great bicycle law education. Um, There might be one or two questions on your driver's license exam, and that might be the only official education a lot of people get. And so it's important to know the rules and the laws. So just going down the bullet points there, if you are a motorist and you see a bike rider in front of you, state law requires you, when passing, to give at least 3 feet. And to be honest, if you can, give 2 or 3 times that. Better to be safe than sorry. If you're parking, parallel parking, such as downtown or in other dense areas like college campuses, LSU, Southern, BRCC, and you are parallel parked, make sure to check behind you before opening the door. We like to tell people to do what's called the Dutch reach, which is opening the driver's side door with your right hand rather than your left, because that forces you to turn around and look at the road before doing that. You don't want to open up your door in front of someone who's biking. And conversely, if you are biking next to parallel parked cars, you're not going to want to ride all the way over next to them because some people might not check before opening their doors. So make sure to ride at least a car door's length away from parallel parked cars. The helmet statute, if you are 12 years old or younger, you are required to have a helmet. If you are over that, in Louisiana, it's your own discretion. If you do choose to wear one, definitely wear it smartly and make sure that it fits, like we said earlier. One of the things we're trying to get past here in Louisiana that's not currently a law is what's called a vulnerable road user law. This basically addresses the gap between serious felony and minor traffic citation when an at-fault motorist strikes someone walking, biking, or using a mobility aid. And right now, it's either a traffic ticket or it could be a felony, but only if they were impaired or otherwise driving recklessly. Currently, there's nothing really to protect vulnerable road users if they're seriously injured or worse by someone who's just not paying attention and disobeys a traffic law, commits a moving violation, and can do serious harm. So we're working on that. We have more information on our website if you're curious as to where we are in the process. An Idaho stop is a good thing we hope we will see in Louisiana one day. It's not currently the law here. Idaho stop basically says in the state of Idaho, where cycling is very popular, bicyclists are allowed to treat stop signs as yield signs and red lights as stop signs. The reason being, if you come to a four-way stop or another intersection where there's a stop sign and there's no cars, doesn't really make a lot of sense for someone on a bike to have to come to a complete stop versus someone in a car where if you're wrong, you could seriously hurt somebody or worse. Bicycle riders don't pose a risk really to anyone but themselves in this situation, so they are given the benefit of the doubt. We're probably a few years away on that one, but we 2 or 3 other states have since passed the Idaho stop law, and we think it'll be the law of the land in the United States, but we're not quite there yet. In the meantime, state laws and revised statutes say that if you are on a bike in the state of Louisiana, you're treated as a vehicle and have all the rights and responsibilities as such. So you go with traffic, not against it. See a lot of people going down the wrong side of the road. This can be dangerous because people, when they're turning right, they're not going to look at you coming from the other direction, nor should they. So be aware of that. If you are over the age of 12, you may not bike on the sidewalk in a business district. So if you're in a commercial area, you are prohibited from biking on the sidewalk if you're over the age of 12. So that includes downtown, college campuses, most commercial corridors such as, College Drive or Essen Lane, or, streets like that. If in the event of a collision between, a pedestrian, which is why you shouldn't bike on the sidewalk in the first place, or a car, you're not going to be given the benefit of the doubt by law enforcement either way. So keep that in mind and stay off the sidewalk when you can. If there is a separated facility next to a roadway, use that. It's just going to be safer every single time to not have to share a lane with a car, just is. And as far as where to ride, I think I pretty much covered that with the last point. Let's see. Manuel, can you tell me how to advance the slide, please?
It should just push it to the side. I'll go ahead and do it. There you go.
Okay. And there we go, talking about sidewalk riding. Now, if you are in a residential area, you are able to in East Baton Rouge Parish, but you must yield right-of-way to people walking, and it's just the polite thing to do. So remember to do that. And most importantly, if you're on a bike, be nice, be courteous, be aware. It looks bad on all of us if a few bad apples kind of spoil it for us by biking too fast where there's lots of people around or kids, where they don't notify walkers and joggers that they're behind them. Use a bell if you don't already have one, get one. They're very, very useful. You can alert them to that you're behind you, and they'll have time to get out of the way, and they'll appreciate it. Don't stop in the middle of a trail to answer your phone. Pull off to the side. Obviously, yield to vehicles at trail crossings. You don't want to get hurt, and you want to ride predictably, courteously and predictably. That's the best thing. That's one of the best things you can do as a bike rider, to kind of be an ambassador, so to speak. You don't want to make people angry at bicycle riders in general. There's a lot of animosity that drivers have towards bike riders already, and it just it sets us back when we try to advocate for better infrastructure and policy reform and that sort of thing. And one of the most important things you can do is use lights at night. White lights in the front, and the red. If the red lights are blinking, it makes you that much more noticeable. And it's the law. You are required to have them when riding at night. You want to be seen and be safe, and ride predictably. Now, when you're riding on the road, you can ride two abreast. That's a common misconception that you're supposed to ride single file. That is not the law. You can ride two abreast, and that helps you be seen, and helps you, command control of the lane so that cars don't try to dangerously pass you. You know, if you ride too far over to the right, cars will try to pass you, and chances are there's not enough space but for you, the vehicle, and the 3 feet that's required by law. So 2 abreast if you're riding in a group. Plus, it's fun because you can talk to your friend. As I was talking earlier, you know, obviously ride predictably and don't stop on the crosswalk. Stop just behind it so that you're not interfering with pedestrians. They have the right of way in a crosswalk. Whoops. Okay, and if, as I was saying, if you'd like to learn more about Bike Baton Rouge and what we do, we have a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of initiatives we're involved in, and we need your help. In a famously car-centric city, we need as many people speaking out as possible. People who are, you know, anti-bike, who don't want any public money spent on infrastructure that's not, you know, related towards automobiles. They have a very, very loud voice. So we need our voice to be as loud as possible. We have a lot of experience knowing not only the laws, but best practices, best routes. We are there for your help as a resource and a reference. If ever you have questions about anything regarding biking, you do not need to be a member to take advantage of those, but we ask that if you're able to, check out bikeyard.org and click on our membership tab and see how you can get involved. It's really a lot of fun. It's a very great way to give back to the community and help make Baton Rouge a better place.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, appreciate all your insight and everything that you all are doing over at Bike BR. I know I wouldn't have my knowledge. I wouldn't be as confident as I am on the road if it were not for being around you all and joining you all for some of those very chill rides through the capital area. So we thank everyone for participating, and we hope that you got something out of it. I know every time I go to bring my bike out, you know, after the sun starts coming through and spring approaches, I want to make sure that I am up to date on any changes. I want to make sure that I know of any of the new trails, and I want to just continue to just practice those precautions as I have been. You don't want to slip up anywhere, and definitely check out Bike BR for any events. If you want to help, be an advocate and be a voice to get some things changed and to influence policymakers. That's the group that you want to be with right there. So they're easy to reach. And again, we encourage you to join, but you don't have to join in order to take care of, in order to take advantage of or influence anything around that. You can just do it yourself by just being a safe rider. Because if you look at blogs, anything to do with bike infrastructure, there's, like Doug said, there's a lot of folks out there that have a really loud voice, and they love bringing up that 1 or 2 instances where they had someone go through a stop sign or a red light or something like that. You can change that, because I know when I stop, someone every now and then someone rolls down their window and they'll say thank you for stopping, because usually cyclists roll through it, and that does something for me, because at least they'll go home and they'll say, well, they aren't all doing it, you know, and maybe they will be able to share that with someone else, you know. So or they'll just be paying attention a lot more to the folks that are doing the right thing. So but yeah, thanks for everyone participating, and enjoy the ride. See you
Thank you all.
soon, and look for other webinars. Hey, thanks, Doug.